In this video, we're going to go ahead and take a peek at reviewing adding and subtracting integers. I'm just going to go ahead, lay out some examples, and we're going to discover maybe a technique or two that is going to go ahead and help us get better at such things. All right, so the first thing that we're going to go ahead and do is that we're going to recognize these first ones. If you're just adding two positives there, that's pretty much the same thing as that it's always been. It's going to go ahead and just give us positive 7. 2 plus 5 there. We're pretty good at just adding those particular numbers like that. However, when it gets kind of foggy for some students is when we are going to be subtracting a larger number from a smaller number. And sometimes it helps to visualize this out, and this is a way that I show students, the way that I learned when I was first learning this, is that I visualize there's 2, and there's not a negative in front of that, so that's like 2 positives. And there is a negative 5 there, subtracting 5, so that's like 5 negatives. Now, we know that a positive and a negative, they're going to go ahead and knock each other out. That means that they just cancel each other out. So when I cancel those two out, I'm left with 3 negatives. And so the answer to this would be a negative 3. Okay? And the same would work for the second example here, is that I would have a negative 2, 1, 2, and this time I'm adding a number to a negative number. And I have a positive 5, so I'm going to have these as positives here. These guys will cancel each other out, and I'm going to be left with a positive 3 because I have 3 positives left. Okay? And in this case, I'm subtracting a negative from a negative. So I start off, I got this negative 2, and then I got a negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means is that I'm going to have 2 negatives here and 5 negatives here. They do not cancel each other out, and so that's going to leave me with a negative 7. Okay, so that's how you can visualize those out. And just even there's no shame of just marking those on your paper, or you can get the positive and negative sign, or if you can get it acclimated to doing it in your head or just seeing it through, it'll help you, especially if you struggle. So some other instances that might come up is that we have this instance of a negative, subtracting a negative. So for subtracting a negative, that's going to be like a positive. Okay, so the 2 negatives are going to make a positive. So we can rewrite this as 6 plus 3. And from here, it's just pretty straightforward. 6 plus 3 is 9. And in this case right here, we're adding a negative. And so when we add a negative, that is going to give us a negative sign. So from here, we would just go 6 minus 3, which would give us 3, and that's that. So we could apply that concept and the concept above to adding up lines of integers here. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look. I scan this problem, and I notice that I have subtracting a negative, so I know that it's going to be a positive, and nothing else looks out of the ordinary. So I'm going to bring that down and go 7 plus 1 plus 5. Okay, so we can add these up in time. We know that this is going to give me 8 plus 5, and at the end of the day, we get 13, right? So doing the same thing for this next one here is that we notice that we're adding a negative, which is going to go ahead and give us a negative. And so I bring everything down. Okay, and now I look and I say, okay, I have 3 negatives. 1, 2, 3. I have 7 positives. And then I have 4 more negatives. Oops, let me. 1, 2, 3, 4. And now I have to start to cancel out. Okay, and it looks like I can cancel out these guys too. 1, 2, 3, 4, and when I have nothing left, it just goes to 0. Okay. So really, one of the best techniques that you can do is that you can organize your work first, bring down anytime that you have anything like this right here. Get it to the point where it just has everything all just kind of lined up, where you can count up your positives and negatives and get your solution there. So hope this helps, and I'll see you in the next video.